Beyond the Veil, exploring holistic realms. Journey into the unknown, combining holistic perspectives with the supernatural and delving into the mysteries of life and death experiences with your host, Julia.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to the 9th episode of Beyond the Veil, exploring holistic realms with your host, me, Julia Evans. I am very excited to come on board today and talk. This morning, I almost forgot that I had a radio show. I had a day today. You know, it was just one of those days. But with that said, I am very excited for this episode. I didn't actually plan. As you know, I don't normally plan of what I'm going to talk about. But as I was turning on my computer, tapping out my cortices, having a spot of tea, I had this aha moment come over me. And I knew exactly what I was going to start the show with. And not only is this the 9th episode, but it is a very significant day for us. I'm going to say us people. That sounds us people of the land. It's a very interesting and wonderful holiday celebration for Celtic and Pagan traditions. Today is Imbolc, which represents the halfway point in between winter solstice and spring equinox. Today in the Celtic and Pagan calendar, it's a very significant day of Imbolc, and it is traditionally our spring. So for those who you can't see me right now, I will be posting this on YouTube at Julia Evans the Lily Nurse, but I feel like it's a little bit more springy today. In the last probably hour or two, I got a little more spring in my step, even when I came to this realization of what today is. And it's very, very exciting. I've got my little, I almost said feathers, but it's my earrings of life. They're these beautiful earrings that I had made for me from an old colleague at my old nursing station. And they are actually these beautiful leaves. And when I saw them in my jewelry drawer today, I thought, what a perfect thing to wear as we celebrate spring. Now here in Saskatchewan, we went through a very big cold spell. It only lasted about a week or so. And now we're into those spring-like temperatures. The snow is melting. It's been getting up to 10 degrees Celsius here in Saskatchewan. So that's why the snow is melting. Some people are wearing shorts. I am not one of those. But just seeing how nature is bringing on spring. It's actually a beautiful time of year. How it's the death of winter, and it's the death of that darkness that a lot of us was feeling, especially within those January blues. And so a lot of us are just popping out, just like those groundhogs or whatever, because Groundhog Day will be in about 2 days, I believe. Good evening. I've got Burrell Ghost here. Hello, my friend. He's been tapping out a little bit. He normally does a show before me, but life circumstances take us on different routes. So I'm glad he popped on tonight to listen to my show. So thank you. Good evening. Okay, so spring, what does that mean for us? Oh gosh, you can spring into a new life. It's about new beginnings. It's about shedding away the old. It's about purging. It's about metamorphosizing outside of your crystallization, coming forth into that, like out of your cocoon, out of your hibernation mode, out of that withdrawal mode, out of that dread, out of that, I want to say depression, because a lot of people do get depressed during those January and December days when it gets very, very dark, not just in our everyday life with the the night. There's so much night. I have somebody saying, yay spring, washing your car. Yeah, there's a lot of snow melting and it's pretty mucky out there, but just think of it, before those rains come, it's to see that all that hardened stuff, like all of that cold, all that stuff that was stuck to you, either on the outside of you, on the inside of you, just the stagnant debris that's stuck within, or on the out, is starting to shed away and it's melting away. It's a beautiful thing. It kind of gets messy, and that's kind of like the healing in itself. It can be very messy as we do healing processes. Anyways, I'm kind of everywhere here. I'm just going to take a nice deep breath in because there's so much I want to say today. And I just want to find the energy of what is out there, what needs to be talked about today. So I'm just going to take a nice deep breath in, and I invite each and every one of you to follow along with me. And we're just going to do a quick little breathing exercise. If you could just take a nice deep breath in, breathe in the air from that room all the way from the tips of your toes, and breathe it in. And hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and blow it out. And let all of that air expel from you. I want you to take another deep breath in, breathe in, and out. Okay, so let's begin this 9th episode. Okay, so tonight, while I actually started to write some things down, and I thought, oh, last time I did this, it was winter solstice, and I started to prepare for a ceremony, and I was going to talk about how in pagan culture we celebrate different things. And as I was doing that, I kind of remembered what happened that 3rd episode, and how halfway through my program, as I was talking, it was that connect, disconnect, connect, disconnect, and my audience actually couldn't hear me for about 22 minutes, and I had to reboot the whole system and then come back on. You can find the half of that episode on YouTube. But that evening, there was a lot of paranormal activity. So what I talk about on this show, I open a platform for things that are seen, unseen, known, unknown. I talk about death, life, everything in between, near-death experiences. I talk about my own. Other people can call in as well. But during that episode, I had something very magical happen. And you can call it magical, you can call it paranormal, supernatural, whatever you want to call it. But I had this thing fly across my computer, and it's normally at my workstation in my office, and it's the Bridget's Cross. And so tonight, when I was like, oh, it's Imbolc, it's the first day of spring, it's that Celtic tradition, and I looked up and I went, oh, I get to place my Bridget cross at my front door today, and I'm very, very excited about that. So I learned that, I just like threw all my papers because I'm so excited. I learned of this not when I was a wee child, because I didn't do a lot of Celtic traditions when I was growing up, even though I have Irish ancestral line. We only followed a few little things, and I actually didn't know a lot of my history, other than my family originated in Ireland and came over here to Canada. But at the time, I didn't know the year or anything like that. But this year, I actually got to go and explore Europe with my favorite travel companion and one of my best friends and my dearest family member. And Carol, I know you're listening. I'm not going to cry because you are one of my biggest fans and I love you so much. But Carol, this story is for you. Carol needed to extract me from life because things were getting too much for me. And she got us a trip we went to London first, then Wales, and we had the most amazing journey from what she had experienced when she was 19 years old. So Carol's a few years older than me. She's 72. I'm going to be 44 this month, actually. And she was the best travel companion a girl could ever ask for. I learned so much from her, and vice versa. We became so close. We talk nearly every day, but we became so close in these travels that we learned so much. But Carol had been researching our family lineage since 1995, I believe it was. And she was tracking this, and she always wanted to go on this trip and go back to Wales and see where our grandmother, Carol's my second cousin. So it would be her grandmother and my great grandmother. So we went to Wales and kind of spiritually brought her back home. And then we went to Ireland, and we spent the majority of our time in Ireland and toured all of Ireland. And we're writing the story of that. But when we went to Ireland, we had gone on many adventures, and I would love to do an episode. I could do probably 1,000 episodes of the journeys that we had, and the fun, the laughs, the anxiety of getting lost in the world in Church Wales, or Church Stretton, Wales. That's a whole other story, and I'll bring that forth another day. But back to Bridget's Cross. So Carol and I had gone to Ireland, and we had learned about our ancestors, and we traveled through ferry and flight and car and walking, and we came to a standstill, and we didn't know where to search, and our last search was in Killybegs in Killaraine, Donegal County. And so we kind of stopped there because that's where the records were. Our family left in 1858 during the potato famine and came to Canada. And Carol knew that, just a little bit of that history. And we ended up going to a museum in Moss, so Maas, Moss, Donegal County in Ireland. And I had to use the washroom, and thank goodness I needed to use the washroom because this place was just closing, and we just said what our last name was. My maiden name and Carol's last name is Trimble. And the owner got very excited, and she's like, "Oh, me best friend Angie, she's just down the street." And then there's Margaret, and she talked about Margaret, and then we brought forth pictures of our family, and we brought forth the story. And so our story is actually in that museum of our family lineage. So we traveled up the hill, which was only like a hop, skip, and a jump. And we drove up the hill, and the first person we met was Patrick Trimble. And this man comes out with this border collie, and he looked identical to my father. And my father's name is Patrick as well. And it was uncanny. And I explained to him, my name is Julia, maiden name Trimble. I don't know if we're related, but this is our story. And he says, "Oh, me mom will know so much more about this. Just go down the hill, and Margaret should be there." So we go down the hill, and we got to see Margaret, and she was picking the weeds in the ditch. And I yelled outside the car, and I said, "Margaret Trimble," and she goes, "Aye." And I said, I'm Julia Trimble." And I came running out of the car, and she took one look at me, and she put her hand upon my face on my cheek, and she said, "Welcome home, darling, welcome home." And it was one of the most magical, beautiful moments, because it was walking the sands or the earth of where our ancestors had walked and coming home. And we met Angie and her son Michael and Gaelic there. Learned some Gaelic, spent a lot of time. We were still all connected as well. It's funny how all of us women on the Trimble side, Carol wasn't part of that, but there is a lineage of us nurses, and a lot of us deal with babies and whatnot. So it was beautiful. But when we were in Ireland, we had gone to Northern Ireland, which is very different from the Republic of Ireland. And we had taken a bus, and we went up to Belfast, and we went up to the Giant's Causeway and learned the legends. And Carol and I were really honoring it and learning everything we could about like our heritage, our ancestry, but the stories and the folklore and that pagan traditions. Even though I practice, there's still so much more that I'm learning of these traditions. And so when we were coming back, actually, I think I'm going to back that up because I'm actually saying the story wrong. That was a different experience. It was when we were at the Blarney, when we went to Blarney. And yes, I kissed the Blarney stone. And every week, Carol and I talk after the show. And she goes, oh, it's because you kissed that Blarney stone. You have 7 years gift of the gab. I don't know how you talk for an hour. And sometimes you just can't shut me up. Anyways, we were coming back from Blarney. And the driver for this tour, he was talking to Carol and I about different traditions. And the one thing that he said was, if you get a chance when you're in Ireland, get a Bridget's cross, because in school we are taught how to make them and we're taught about those traditions. And I even got goosebumps even thinking about that, how even in school they practice like that pagan rituals, that the beliefs. And it's not just pagan, because there's a lot of Christianity associated with that too. That Saint Bridget and Saint Patrick are the two saints that have a day after them. So February 1st for Bridget, and Saint Patrick's Day, March 17th for Saint Patrick. And those are in the Catholic calendar as well. So it's beautiful. So I went, it was actually just down the street from our hotel in Dublin, and I found the Bridget's cross. And so I've been so excited to take it this one out of the bag, my big one, to put at the front door. And it's about protection. And it's also called the Wheel of Life. And so I'm just going to read the back of it as I open it, and so everybody can hear it crumpling. I feel like one of those YouTube channels where the kids all watch people opening toys and playing with them. That's me right now. Okay, Bridget's Cross. February 1st is a festival day of Imbolc, the spring festival in the Celtic calendar, celebrating the fertility in nature, dedicated to the goddess Bridget of Celts. The Bridget's Cross is sacred to the goddess Bridget and described as the woven wheel of life, marking the cycles of nature, from birth in spring to death in winter, and in spring from death to life again. Now there's different legends about how this came to be, but she was on the side of the road, and it was an explanation about how Jesus Christ was born, died, and then rose again from death to life again. And this is a symbol of kind of that cross, but that wheel of life, that we were born and die and then come back again. So on February 1st, it's in modern Ireland, people continue to carry Bridget crosses in their houses. They put them on the wall to bring blessings to the family and to their household. And so may this cross, the wheel of life, be a sign of blessings and happiness in your life. So I'm just going to open this up so everybody can hear it. It's like, ooh, one of those YouTube channels. Ooh, and look at the paper. We're going to bring it out. And for those who can't see it, it almost looks like a throwing star. And this is going to be placed right at my front door to ward off evil. But it's also a very beautiful thing and I actually wrote it down here. Imbolc is about the belly, or in the belly of mother. And so it's as the seeds of spring are beginning to stir in the belly of Mother Earth. That's what it's about. It's just to kind of push away anything that in the environment or anything, just to ward off anything that is preventing you to flourish, preventing you from having your new beginning. So I wish happiest beginnings to each and every one of you, as I have my Bridget's cross for each and every one of us. Okay, so that's kind of what today is, and there's a whole bunch of different traditions, and I have a lot of friends who are celebrating tonight. I was invited to a few ceremonies, and because of the show, I'm coming here and doing this wonderful show with all of you. But I will be doing a little bit of a celebration after, just lighting the candles and lighting that warmth in the sun of the spring, and how that light is starting to shine through again. And it's just the beauty that's coming forth. It's not just the buds on the tree, but it's the buds and the seeds that you planted in your awareness. And I know I talk about this on different shows as well. So if you've listened to me talk about this before, so new moons are about planting the seeds of what you want to cultivate later in life, and the full moon is about getting rid of the weeds and the stuff that prevent you from living that, for living your truth and what you want in your reality, in your world. So today is just another magical day. So enough about Imbolc, because you can look that up if you so choose, the beauty of that. But I figured this is a beautiful place to bring that up, because I know this is a pagan channel, and we're all saying happy Imbolc to each other as well, because we all honor it on this radio station. Okay, so going back to 9th episode. All right, I kind of like rolled my eyes there. I can't believe it's the 9th episode already. That is, wow, that's a doozy. So I'm going to do a little numerology here, and I'm very excited because I have Tamara Miller. I'm meeting up again tomorrow, and we're going to talk a little bit of numerology, and I'm going to do a little bit of body talk with her, because I do that with other practitioners, and not just practitioners, but I'm always open to doing trades, because one person is not more or less than another in this world. And I really emphasize that, especially when I'm doing sessions, that if somebody ever wanted to do a trade of whatever their gift is, be it whatever it is, I'm open to trades quite often. But this is my year, and when I say that, it's my 9th year, so that's my lifeline. So come my birthday on February 27th, that's kind of the end of my 9th year, and then I get to go into this year 1, which is this whole new beginning for me. And I'm really, really excited of what's transpiring for me in all aspects of life, in work, business, like my nursing career, BodyTalk career, my love life, my relationships with my daughter, my son, with my friends, developing new relationships. So I'm actually really excited about what is transpiring for me. But 9 has been very significant for me this year, as that power number has been like really circling around me. Like, what does 9 really represent for me? And on the back of my book, so I am a best-selling author of the book, The Lily Nurse Rebooted, Rebirth, and Finding a New Path. And on the back of that book, I have the price of it, and it's $27.99. And so you add that up. So 2 + 7 is 9, and then it's 999, which means the karmic cycle is broken. I've learned my lesson, and now I'm ready to share that lesson with the world. And that's why I picked that number for the price of my book. And then if you look further into that, if you add all of those together, of course it equals 9 again. And it's that power level, it's that mastery level. It is, I'm not saying I'm a master in things, because there's always more to learn. And you could pick one tiny little subject and keep learning more and more and more, and getting a different perspective, and just, it never ends. It really never, there's nothing in this world that just like finishes. There's always something to add to it or subtract from it, and there's always learning opportunities. But things are called mastery levels, and I think the reason why it's called mastery level is because you have a better understanding, but it's not just an understanding. It's more of like a gratitude to what it represents, of whatever you are dealing with, from anything from mathematics to traditions to anything, nursing techniques to language, whatever realm you're in. And I kind of veered off into something there. So the 9th episode, I was really excited last week to come forth, and I had an idea after last week's episode because I so far have loved episodes 8's. What I talked about on episode 8, for me, that was my I'm picking a favorite, but that was one of the most relaxed I felt. I felt like I was getting into the groove, and I was talking about that power of 8, that just the fluidity of it, and I really felt that through my episode. And so I was really excited, like, ooh, 9, I'm so excited to like talk about it and like what mastery level. And then when I got here, I forgot today was my show, and I was kind of in a funk, and I was really mad today, and I just kind of had a crap day, to tell you the truth. And there was a lot of things that was brought up for me, and I couldn't understand why. And I really got into this like, I got really angry. I'm not gonna lie, I got really angry today. I got angry with what was happening, what was being said, what wasn't being said. I was tired of just a lot of stuff. Fill in the blank, because I'm sure there's a swear that I want to say there. There was just a lot of stuff I didn't want to deal with today. But now I get to look at it as a beautiful gift, because sometimes in those hardships, you get to learn beautiful things about yourself, how you react to situations or don't react. Did you go quiet? Did it trigger you? What transpired for you? And today, I had a very, very challenging day where I had to talk to somebody about what I was diagnosed with this past summer with PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. And for the longest time, I couldn't say those words because I was like, oh, people are going to think I'm wacko, crazy, because that's what we have this stupid stigma about. And that's why you get stuck in the reality, or it's not a reality. You just get stuck in this notion or this box of what somebody has put you in. And people have a belief of what you actually are upset about, and they put their own notions, their own perceptions on it, and all that does is just make you stew a little bit more and gets you a little bit angry, and then it's just like this ridiculous cycle that sometimes you can and cannot get out of. But I was diagnosed with it, and because of an incident that happened a year ago, and I'm sure I talked about it on this show, but a year ago on January 27th, I went to work as a registered nurse, and I donned a mask. So don means like put a mask on, if for those who don't know what that means. So I put on a mask, so donned my mask, just like a good conformed nurse, like I was being told. It was mandated, I had to wear it, and I was abiding by the rules because that was the rules of society. And I put it on, and I had a reaction to it. And I believe I've talked about it on the show, but I'm just going to bring it up again because I had to bring it up this morning when I was talking to somebody about it. And see, I got like really uncomfortable talking about it. That year mark is so significant. And I talk about that in my first book. That year, like that's the end of my first book, is when I talk about the realization, what happened with my near-death experience in May 10th, 2018. And that it hit me at that year point of, whoo, this happened. Like all of this happened, and it's okay to accept it. And it's okay to understand it. It's okay to breathe it in. And it's okay if nobody believes you or don't want to believe you or shun you away because it's what you experienced. Now, so the year mark of this reaction, I donned my mask, and it really reflected on what I had experienced with my near-death experience when I had this anaphylactic reaction to lilies at work. And so I started losing my airway, and a colleague had said, like, you don't sound right, I'm going to make you tea. Another colleague said, are you okay, Julia? And I took that mask off. I remember, look at all my screens here. I took that mask off and my nose started bleeding, which was kind of unusual. Well, it's unusual for me, but I had this like very scratchy throat. And so I grabbed my spot of tea and I went to take a sip, and I could barely swallow. And I said to my manager, as we were having like a huddle in our morning talk of all of us on our floor, around my desk, because that's just normally the spot where we had this talk, our morning huddle. And I said, I think I'm reacting to the mask. And the manager at my time, very nonchalant, like just like, meh. A lot of people say that they're struggling with those masks, but yeah, we'll look into it eventually. I'm like, no, I think I'm really reacting. And I sat down at my desk, and another colleague, a nurse, had asked me to do something, and I couldn't get my words out, and I started like feeling like I was suffocating in air. And I've experienced that with the anaphylactic reaction years ago, and I panicked, and I think I snapped at her. And so it was a trigger, like no shit, it was a trigger for me, what I experienced, and I never got to fully deal with that. And she said, well, maybe if you go outside and get a breath of fresh air. And in my mind at that time, I could barely breathe. And I was like, that's a great idea. When I probably didn't have enough oxygen to my brain to think otherwise. So I went downstairs and took a breath outside. I'm not going to tell the whole story because it's long and it's still really fresh for me. But another nurse came in, and she was there with my first anaphylaxis. And she brought me in, and it really started mirroring what I had experienced a few years prior, from me sitting in the chair by myself, turning blue, losing my airway, having that scratchy feeling, somebody running to grab Benadryl, which is old school practice, and then her running back to me and like seeing with her own two eyes, like, okay, this is more serious than just a Benadryl pill, and then bringing me into a room. And she took my blood pressure and called 911 to get the paramedics there, and she ended up hanging up because I wasn't doing very good. And she called out to our staff, and so I had a physician run in and some nurse practitioners, and there was a few people in the room, and they could see that my face was swelling, my tongue was swelling, my airway was closing. I mean, I was turning blue again, and they started drawing up epinephrine. And for those who don't know my story, or this is the first time you're hearing my story, if you've never read my book, it wasn't the lily that caused my near-death experience. It cascaded a series of events that needed to happen for me to live the life that I'm living now. But I was given the wrong dose of epinephrine, and I was given the IM, so the intramuscular, which is 10 times the dose into my vein, into my IV. And so that 10 times dose went straight to my heart instead of going into my muscle and slowly coming into my bloodstream. It went straight to my heart, and it did explode. And I'm saying explode, like it didn't like grenade, but I went into, it's called pulseless VTAC. So my heart vibrated at such a high frequency when I had my anaphylaxis with the lily and the excessive amount of epinephrine, that it put me at a totally different frequency, that I had no pulse, and I died on the table and came back. If you want to know more of the story, you can purchase my book, The Lily Nurse Rebooted, Rebirth, and Finding a New Path, on Amazon, or go to a local bookstore and ask for it, and they can bring it in for you. So with that said, this nurse said, don't draw up epi, because she was there and she watched me die before her and come back. And so I just got, I read four screens. So somebody just messaged, I'll bring that up in just a minute. So she didn't want the doctors to drop the epinephrine, so they had to give me something else. And I did start breathing. But there was this moment that I needed to be reminded of, and it wasn't the part that gave me PTSD. It's all the stuff that happens after, when everybody doesn't want to talk about it. But there was a beautiful part within all that chaos. And I dropped to my knees, and I knew it was my last breath. And my thoughts in my head were, not again. And it was like I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but no air could come out. But I just put it out into the universe. And I just said, I'm not crossing over. And I got really mad. And I said, I didn't say goodbye to my daughter. And I remember I collapsed forward, and instead of smacking my head on the ground, I took my right hand and I threw it to the ground, and I placed my hand on the ground, and it felt like this power. And if you could just visualize for a second, like a superhero win, like Spider-Man or Superman, a superhero like coming out of the sky and just like hitting the ground hard and just, wow, like, no. And it felt like I planted my seed, like, no, I need to be here because I need something from this universe, from this earth, that I am destined to follow. I have this purpose, and I am freaking leaving right now. This is not how I'm going to go. And I rippled that, and I did start breathing, and it took a while, but I damaged, my lungs were damaged from it. My heart was damaged a little bit from it. And I did get a little nervous because I'm like, oh man, like, this is happening to me again. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, what on God's green earth? Why am I experiencing all these near-death experiences and like so close to each other? And so when you experience something that is so similar to each other, it's like you skipped either the lesson or the blessing of the experience. And so it like almost replays it again for you to grab it. And it did probably take me a year, and I needed to remind myself that I did that. So last week on the 27th, when I put my hand on the ground, and I was like, no, because I am planting those seeds, that I am here and I have this purpose. And I'm not here like, I have a purpose, I am the great. Nah, I'm not saying that. But I believe in my heart and my soul that I'm here for something. And it's to change, well, I believe it's to change certain aspects of what a lot of us have endured. And it's a system that has been a little bit flawed, to bring back that holistic notion. This is another reason why I brought forth this show, not to preach or anything, or to keep talking my story, but it's a place to hold that platform for anybody who ever has that, I don't know where to turn to, I don't know where I need help. And I'm not offering all my services for free or anything like that, but a guidance or knowing that what you're feeling is normal. The things that you do see and people don't, or that you know that people don't understand, all of it is relevant. And that's why I open up this platform. So as I'm saying that, I am taking calls. I will get back to a few of the comments here. You can comment on Discord through Cosmos Astrium Radio. And so I haven't done a shout out to Matt and Allison for a little while, but they're the ones behind the Cosmos Astrium Radio. This platform is a beautiful radio, so thank you for providing this opportunity for me and continuing me on this radio station. I'm very blessed to have you both in my life. Very blessed, and I can't wait to see what's going to transpire even in this new year for all of us. Excited about that. So you can go on Discord on their website, so cosmosastriumradio.ca, or you can call me through the radio station. So our local number in Saskatchewan is 306-400-3403, or you can always call in toll free at 1-877-229-5171, and then you press option 2. And then the radio station will bring that to my cell phone. As much as I want to give out my cell phone, I'm getting copious, so lots of people messaging me through Facebook, Instagram, through my YouTube channel, and I don't want to exhaust myself, so I still need to keep my energy for myself as well. But if anybody would like to call in and have any questions, or just want to state something, and I'm always open to bringing people on the show as well. Now, when I first started this show, I really wanted to open the platform and bring in a lot of different modalities. And with that said, just to show what is out there. So I'm a certified BodyTalk practitioner, medium. I do cards. I have a lot of things under my belt. I'm also a registered nurse. I do community nursing. I've done gastroenterology nursing. I've done very acute settings, geriatric. I worked bereavement, palliative care. So I worked from end of life and beginning of life, postpartum to everything in between. I've worked a lot, different avenues in my nursing career. My favorite thing that I've done, though, was helping people, actually helping women through their most vulnerable time when they felt that they didn't have a voice. And that's what I have a passion with. And it's not just women, but it's just humankind. And within Western medicine, a lot of times we don't allow people to feel heard. And it's a very awful feeling. So for those who have ever felt that, my heart goes out to you. And just like that apology I had in Western medicine this summer, when they looked back at my chart of my first near-death experience, and they said, even though I wasn't there on behalf of Western medicine, I apologize, and I have no idea what you went through, but it must have been a lot. So if that resonates for anybody, I'm going to say that with my nursing brain. So everybody just kind of, I'm going to breathe that in. Whew. So I was talking about PTSD and why I was so angry. So I'm going to take a little water here, a little sip of water. So I was a little angry because I had to tell this story again. And instead of and I'm going to say that's the trouble of Western medicine, because they always have to look at like the ailment, or it's not always digging for that root cause. Sometimes you just need a little bit digging, because believe it or not, sometimes even the most joyous moments can give us the most strife as well, because it's all about balance. And I'm just hearing something here. Within those moments, sometimes we feel like we can't even feel, we're not supposed to feel that joy. So with that said, so I brought forth a lot of information this morning, and I had to relive a few things that I didn't necessarily want to relive, because I thought I hashed it out, and I believed that I dealt with it. But then when I told it a different way, and it not a different way, but to somebody new, different avenue through, like, because it was a virtual, and I talked about how I started the conversation about how I'm watching my daughter go through her PTSD right now. And so I'm on the other side of the fence of this, and watching her do the things that I wish and asked for when I first started struggling with a trauma. And I opened a platform for her, and not just me, but other people as well. And so any kind of trauma in life where it makes you reevaluate everything, and it changes your life drastically, it changes you as a person, and you have to adapt to that. And it might be physical, but with that physical component, it's that mental aspect, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Like it's like your whole identity is changed, and you have to learn how to adapt. And that's where that's where people don't understand where that PTSD comes from, because there's so much, because it's just like everything collapsed like those winter months, right? And then you have to start blossoming into this new life. And so that's like these spring months and into summer, and you can start becoming stronger from the experience. But if you always concentrate, or if you always have somebody making you concentrate on what made you collapse in the first place, then that's what you think of, instead of, no, but there was all this other beautiful stuff. No, go back to that, because there's a lot of people in this world that really want to be focused on that negative aspect, because they latch on that. It's like, it's like water to them. And that's what was making me really mad today. It was making me really mad. I said, I've basically told this kind of story before. This is not where I want to go. I want to do these different avenues and try something different, because this is what box you put me in. So you take me out of the box. Anyway, so I had some very, very interesting moments today. I was just scratching my head because I was just like, it really wanted me to I wanted to pull my hair today because I was so mad at just people in general. Anyways, I'm going to toss that back and just take a nice deep breath in and just get rid of that, and just bring forth that knowledge of that Bridget's cross and what today signifies. So going back, because I think I kind of went on a weird tangent there. So I apologize for that. Actually, no, I don't really apologize for that, because that's what happened. And I'm just going to honor it. Sometimes we have to go through things in order for us to come on the other side. And it's okay to breathe. It's okay to breathe through these moments and to pause. And sometimes we have to acknowledge that each and every one of us is going through something, and each and every one of us either knows how to get through it or don't. And it's okay just to reach out. And if you think of somebody, just reach out and talk to them. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, I'm going to veer off. So I'm going to go back to a little bit of the Ireland trip, because I kind of want to talk a little bit more of that, just because of my Irish roots are kind of kicking in here. I want to talk about what happened on July 13th this year. I was actually found, and I was out for a walk, and I thought that was a beautiful coping strategy that I had, and I would walk 10 miles a day and just really breathe in my environment and see all the beauty, from the sky to the grass to the flowers to the movement of the trees, whatever I needed to do. And I loved it. But this one day there was stuff leading up to that, and my heart got a little wonky, and I really tried to push through it. And instead of actually listening to my body and honoring it, I pushed too much, and I collapsed on the side of the road, and I was found very calm on the side of the road, amongst the dirt, looking at the flowers. And because of that, I stepped away from nursing, because it was the aftermath of what happened. Well, this May will be 6 years, but May 10th, 2018, when I had that excessive amount of epi, it was like the aftermath of it. And over the last few months, I've been learning about that there was 2 other people that had that same amount of epinephrine, and they had passed away. And I'm still talked about in the hospital as the one that survived it. And so I almost like latched that on to myself, like a proud badge, like a Girl Guide where they wear those badges and you get to sew on all those badges. And for whatever reason, I put that on my lapel, like, yeah, I survived it. I can survive anything. But when you put that on your lapel and you put that on as like a badge over your heart, you really keep pushing yourself, and you don't honor yourself to take breaks, and you keep pushing, because what if somebody needs to see you keep pushing through to help them through. But I was found on the side of the road, and that is why my cousin Carol, her words are, extracted me from whatever I was dealing with. And we went to Europe and had the most magical time I have ever experienced in my life. And I think back, and it's still even kind of hard for me to go back and look at those pictures because it was so magical. But there was one place, my favorite place on earth, and I had put it on Facebook, and I haven't actually been posting very much on Instagram or anything for whatever reason. I'm just in this kind of hiatus for whatever reason. But it was Bundoran, Donegal County, and we had found this Airbnb by the ocean. And it was the most magical place. And Carol and I shared a bed together because we pretty much shared a bed together for the entire trip. Like two teenage girls giggling. You just couldn't shut us up and go to sleep. No, we're too excited. But waking up in the morning and sitting outside and having my morning coffee and tea and seeing the ocean speak to me again in a different way that I've never heard it before. And I brought it into my heart and my soul that to be one with the ocean, to kind of go with the flow. And when you go with the flow of what your life brings you, you find the beauty in it. You do. You find the beauty. So I have a few comments here. Sorry, I totally forgot to look at my screens. Did the hospital try and buy you off after they over-medicated you so that you wouldn't sue them? Oh, yeah, lots of people asked me that. No, they didn't buy me off. I was kind of poo-pooed, and I kind of watch what I say, which is really interesting because no one else watched what they said, because my story ricocheted across the country and further. And that's why I owned the Lily Nurse. I had that name copyrighted because that name was gifted to me in the hospital, because so much trauma from the staff, they didn't know what to talk about, and a lot of them were diagnosed with PTSD because of that incident. They didn't know how to describe like what happened because it was huge, right? Not just for me, but for everybody there. And so they called me the Lily Nurse because who's allergic to lilies? And you're a nurse and there was a lily. So 3 magical words, power of 3. And those 3 magical words, I stuck word on my lapel. And, no, they didn't sue, but they wanted me to don't say anything. And I'm not mad at the situation, nor did I ever want to sue. I did get a few apologies from different people. It's not like it was like intended to happen. It was just a human error. It was just a human error for whatever reason, and nobody can put their finger on what happened, nor do they want to investigate it further. But it did happen. Am I happy about it? Yes and no. Do they kind of recognize what happened? Not really. But that's why they put me kind of in that box of, well, you must just have PTSD. And like, why would you be upset with what happened? Your life only changed drastically. So yeah, interesting question. But no, I never wanted to sue. No, they never gave me any money. That's another reason why I put the book out, just to take my experience instead of having it in my head and living it every day, having flashbacks and whatnot, putting it on paper. So it's like my eyes as a third person reading somebody else's story. And so it's kind of out of me, so I can like let it go, like Elsa, let it go. I'm not going to sing for any of you because I'm a terrible singer. Okay. Another thing that somebody had mentioned here. Sorry, I forgot to get back to that. I had somebody, you said it was on the 27th. That's also a 9. Yeah. So my mask allergy was on the 27th. So yeah, that is 9. And another 9 is my birthday, which is February 27th. And so it will be a lot of 9s this year. So it's my 9th year and 27 is my birth year, or sorry, my birth date. And yeah, so lots and lots of nines. Also, my birthday is in 1980 as well, so there's a few nines in there too, but that's a whole other episode. I could veer off and start another tangent, but it's close to the end of my show. I really appreciate everybody who sticks with me as I kind of talk everybody's ear off. I hope you get whatever you get from this. Health, happiness, reprieve, calmness, whatever you get from my show. I love that you support me, but support yourself in taking even an hour out of your time, out of your day, to just breathe in and just listen to something. Maybe it's out of the ordinary or not. I thank you all very much for sticking with me. Next week will be the 10th episode. Who knows what's going to happen? It'll be something fun. I'm still hoping to get a few more people on board here to talk. But everybody that I've approached is actually really nervous to talk on the radio. I didn't think it was actually that nerve-wracking for people. So I don't know what to say to that. But I am going to end this show. So happy Imbolc, first day of spring for that Celtic and pagan people of this world. Let your world begin today. Drop whatever negativity or things that are weighing you down. Drop that backpack off your back. Breathe in, open your chest, your arms, and just let this whole world come in, because this whole world, what you're experiencing, is for you. I mean, it's good, it's bad, it's everything in between, but this is world. So grab what you want, grab the world that you want, cultivate it, because it's for you to take. You are the light of your own show. Don't ever let anybody dim your light. So I bid you farewell and goodbye, but not goodbye forever. Thank you again for being here with me. This will be on YouTube probably later tonight or tomorrow. Good night, peace, and be well, everyone. Good night, everyone.